When the monster falls, the screaming had stopped 3 hours ago. That's what terrified Manhattan the most, not the roars that shook windows in their frames, not the explosions that sent plumes of smoke into the evening sky, not even the sickening crunch of steel and concrete being pulverized like sand. It was the silence that followed. Dr. Rebecca Chen pressed her face against the cold glass of the subway car window, watching the tunnel walls blur past. The emergency evacuation had been orderly at first, almost civilized. Then someone's phone had caught the live feed, and everything changed. "Don't," her colleague Marcus whispered, but she'd already seen it. The footage was shaky, filmed from a rooftop miles away with maximum zoom. Two figures locked in combat amid the ruins of what used to be Times Square. The green giant, humanity's monster, their unlikely protector, and something worse. Something that had once been a man named Emile Blanc. The Abomination was larger, stronger, and unlike the Hulk, there was no rage, tempering his actions, only cold, calculated hatred. Rebecca had watched the Hulk fight before. Everyone had. He was unstoppable, a force of nature, chaos incarnate. But this time, as she watched the grainy footage loop on the commuter's phone, she saw something she'd never seen before. The Hulk was losing. Each blow from the Abomination sent him reeling. Where the Hulk's punches once shattered buildings, now they barely moved his opponent. The creature that wore Blonsky's twisted face caught the Hulk's fist mid-swing and squeezed. Even through the poor video quality, even from miles away, Rebecca could see the green giant's face contort in pain. "Turn it off," someone pleaded. No one did. The Hulk tried to rally. He roared, muscles swelling, the gamma radiation in his blood pushing him to evolve, to grow stronger. It had always been enough before. His anger would surge, and with it, his power. Limitless. Infinite. But there are limits to everything. The Abomination's laugh cut through the destruction, a sound that made Rebecca's skin crawl even through tinny phone speakers. He grabbed the Hulk by the throat and lifted him like a ragdoll. The green giant thrashed, pounded at the scaled arms holding him. But his blows grew weaker. "We need to go deeper," Marcus urged, pulling at her arm as the subway car rattled. "Rebecca, we need to get as far underground as possible." She knew he was right. The protocols were clear. If the Hulk fell, if containment failed, if the monster could be beaten, ... No one had ever planned for what came after. The footage showed the Abomination slamming the Hulk into the ground so hard the camera shook. Once, twice, 3 times. On the 4th impact, the Hulk's movements slowed. His green skin, usually luminous with radiation, Siamed Tadim. Then came the moment that would haunt Rebecca forever. The Hulk reached up, not in violence, but in something that looked almost like surrender. His fingers grasped weakly at the Abomination's arm, and for just a second, just one horrible second, she saw his eyes. They were afraid. The Abomination drove his fist down one final time. The shockwave shattered every window within a mile radius. Car alarms wailed. Buildings groaned. And when the dust began to settle, the green figure wasn't moving anymore. The phone screen went black as the feed cut out. The subway car erupted into chaos. People screaming, crying, shoving toward the exits, even though they were still moving. Someone vomited. A child wailed for their mother. "What happens now?" Someone whispered. Rebecca knew. She was a geneticist who'd spent 5 years studying gamma radiation exposure. She'd written 3 papers on the Hulk's cellular regeneration. She understood what that green monster represented better than most. He wasn't just a hero. He was a threat assessment, a measuring stick. As long as the Hulk existed, as long as he could become stronger with rage, he represented a ceiling, the worst-case scenario that nothing could surpass. But ceilings were only comforting when they held. The subway car lurched to a stop. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing everything in red. "Ladies and gentlemen," the conductor's voice crackled over the intercom, trying and failing to sound calm. "We're experiencing a We need everyone to remain. The ground shook, not like an earthquake, not like an explosion. It was rhythmic, deliberate. Footsteps. Something massive was walking through Manhattan. Hunting. Rebecca closed her eyes and thought about what she knew. The Hulk had been the Abomination's obsession, his white whale. Blonsky had become a monster specifically to prove he was stronger, better, more powerful. Now, he'd won. He'd proven it. So what did a monster do after he'd killed the only thing he'd ever wanted to kill? The answer came as another tremor shook dust from the subway ceiling. He'd find something else. The lights went out completely. In the darkness, Rebecca heard breathing dozens of people, trying to stay quiet, trying not to draw attention, as if silence could save them from something that could tear through steel and concrete. Her phone buzzed, a push notification from the emergency broadcast system. Shelter in place. Do not attempt to flee. Do not look outside. Do not make noise. Remain calm. The last part almost made her laugh. Remain calm. The Hulk, the strongest one there is. The monster they'd reluctantly come to trust was dead, and his killer was loose in the city, finally free to unleash everything he'd been holding back. Another footstep. Closer now. Then, another. Someone in the subway car started praying. Rebecca pulled out her phone and opened her messages. She typed quickly, fingers shaking. Mom, Dad, I love you. I'm sorry I didn't visit more. Tell Sarah I'm proud of her. She hit send and tucked the phone away. The footsteps stopped directly above them. In the suffocating silence, Rebecca heard something that made her blood turn to Issa low, rasping sound that might have been breathing, might have been laughter. The sound of something that had tasted victory and found it delicious. The ceiling groaned. Marcus grabbed her hand. Maybe he won't. The world exploded in a shower of concrete and rebar. Emergency lighting from the street above poured into the subway car, silhouetting a massive figure. The Abomination crouched at the edge of the hole he'd torn in the earth, his scaled head tilted like a predator examining prey. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the Abomination smiled, revealing rows of jagged teeth, and dropped into the tunnel. The screaming started again, but this time, Rebecca knew no green giant would come to make it stop. In the aftermath, they would find Bruce Banner's body in the ruins of Times Square, a small, broken man who looked like he was sleeping. The gamma radiation had left him when the Hulk died, drained away in that final, terrible moment. Without it, without the monster, he was just human. Just mortal. Just another victim. The Abomination ruled Manhattan for 6 days before the military finally brought him down with a tactical nuclear strike that left a crater where Greenwich Village used to be. The city evacuated. The world watched, and everyone learned the terrible truth that some had always suspected. The monsters we trust to protect us are still monsters, and when they fall, we fall with them.